Yeah, I mean, they've been able to make it by with whatever they can with Russell Wilson doing what he does again. But how long is that going to go when he's asked this team time and time again, get me involved in with decisions that are made. I'm tired of getting sacked all the time. He takes a lot of hits, but still is able to be accurate and not has a lot of turnovers.
Right.
They have relied on the run and what they could do with Chris Carson too as well has been really productive for them moving forward. But we've seen that defense take a tick down every year as it goes. They're getting aged and older and stuff, and they go and get that big trade to get Jamal Adams and stuff and invest money in him. But, again, what really else have they done? Not a whole lot. So when you look back at the Indianapolis Colts now, again, they're trying to go all in on Carson Wentz now, but he's giving them a whole bunch of question marks on this whole deal. He can't even stay healthy through the preseason, let alone,
he's a go for week one.
I know he's a go for week one, but, I mean, again, instantly with the injury, but then all of a sudden COVID again, and then they're like trying to rely on him to be there, to be that guy. Like you talked about Phillip Rivers again before with the Chargers, he kind of bit him a bit, I guess, for the Colts as well. And they said, all right, this is a younger guy. Hopefully he can be what we thought he was in Philadelphia when Frank Reich had him there before. And this is now Indianapolis's time with the offense where they can meet the power of what the defense was. So this is going to be a tough matchup, I think, between the two here. But ultimately, I think I'm going to go with the Colts here on this one because they're home, and I think the defense is better.
Yeah, so this is really tough for me because you mentioned Seattle and how they're getting older. But here's the other thing, too, is that they are missing key pieces that they once had last season. If you think about it, there's no Shaquem Griffin at linebacker. Yeah. There's no Shaquille Griffin at corner. There's no KJ Wright at linebacker. And their defensive line, if you go on their depth chart and you take a look at that defensive line, does it scare you? I don't think so. I mean, I still think they definitely have to rebuild. It's time to hit the rebuild button on that defense. Listen, now, it's not to say that they don't have talent. They definitely do. I can't remember the dude's name that plays corner for them, but I think his last name is Flowers. He's an up-and-coming talent. He looks pretty good. And don't forget Jamal Adams. I mean, that guy is going to blitz off the edge. He's going to come down and wreak havoc in the backfield or whatnot. But Seattle's offense is basically the thing that's been carrying this team for the last 2 to 3 years now. And Russell Wilson can only do so much. This is a team that is heavy. It's a heavy run team. They don't pass a ton. If the Colts defense, which I think they can with Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner up front, I think they're going to be able to stop the run and make them one-dimensional and try to force them to throw the ball. So Colts, pretty good. They had a top 10 defense last year. They got a little bit better this year. Kwity Paye, who surprisingly to me looks like the real deal at defensive end. So offensively, Carson Wentz is healthy for week one. He's a go with Jonathan Taylor waiting in the wings to get that ball and take off running. I like the Colts in this one. I think Seattle has a tendency to not do very well on East Coast games. And being at 1 o'clock, it's extremely early for West Coast teams. So I think they're going to be a little bit in the fog, and the Colts are going to take advantage of it.
All right, next up we've got the Minnesota Vikings at the Cincinnati Bengals. And, again, Cincinnati, I think in the preseason, again, looking a little sluggish getting forward here. We got to see a very minimal snaps by Joe Burrow. And Jamar Chase, it seems like he's got the case of the dropsies. Can't get it together here in the preseason. So I'm a little skittish on the Cincinnati Bengals right now. Maybe they can get back to what it looks like they could potentially be from last season and move forward. But right now with the slow start, I think it's going to be a little rough. And I think the Minnesota Vikings are tough out to be against when you're having problems like that, a few humps in the road. So I'm going to rely on Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Those guys that have all been there. Dalvin Cook, they've been there. And so I'm liking the Vikings in this one.
Yeah, and Cincinnati, like, despite their kind of like, their woes on the wide receiver position, Jamar Chase, it's surprising because he caught everything before. You know what I mean? Like, before he got drafted, like, everyone saw his highlights and everything. And yeah, the match made in heaven and all that. Joe Burrow, listen, they were extremely cautious with him playing at all. So that, to me, might hinder Joe Burrow, especially in week one. Like, I feel like players need reps. You know what I mean? even though it's preseason, they still need to get out there a little bit, like a series or two, you know what I mean? Just to kind of dust off the rust a little bit in live action. And I don't think they did that enough with their offense. Joe Mixon is back again, so that's going to help out with the running game. Their offensive line is stronger. They got their rookie back who was out last year. And their defense looks pretty darn good on paper. So I think they could make a difference, but I'm not sure if they're going to be ready week one all in. So for Minnesota, like Jim said, like look at their offense. Like their offensive line's pretty solid. They got Cook. They got all these weapons around Kirk Cousins. Listen, Kirk Cousins is not a bad quarterback. As much as everybody likes to shit on Kirk Cousins, he's actually pretty good. You know what I mean? And the one thing that's been halting this Minnesota success is actually the defensive side of the ball. Mike Zimmer, listen, you've been there long enough. Why isn't this defense stellar like it used to be? It used to be like, amazing. No one could really hardly move the ball on them. So hopefully something changes on the defensive side. Hopefully they get more pass rush. They have better corners now. They got different guys. So let's wait and see how that defense reacts this season. But all in all, I too am going to go with Minnesota because you got a veteran offense already in place. They know the deal. Their defense should be better and more equipped this season. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Minnesota.
All right, we got the 49ers and the Detroit Lions here. Again,
49ers.
We saw, 49ers, basically. You want to mark it up as it.
I'm just saying, like, here's the only thing. This is going to be interesting, too, is no Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator, so now we might get a glimpse on to see how they run their defense. Is it going to be very close to almost the same? Is it going to be a little bit different wrinkles in it? But the other thing that's going to help is that you got Nick Bosa returning healthy, and you got Eric Armstead also returning healthy. So you're getting your starting defensive line back together again, along with that great linebacking core. And a secondary that we'll have to wait and see before we give it a grade. But that defense looks ready and hungry as ever. So offensively, hey, it's been announced. Jimmy G is now the starter. Everybody wondering if it's Trey Lance or Jimmy G. But that doesn't mean that Kyle Shanahan might throw in a wrench or two week to week and have Trey Lance go out there for like some kind of a trick play or something. As far as Detroit goes, with the Lions, Mark Campbell, the head coach, he looks like a human lion, for God's sakes.
Dan Campbell?
Dan Campbell.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
He looks like a lion. He's going to bite kneecaps off of the opponents and all this other thing.
Crazy, that guy.
He's pretty fun. He's entertaining at least. But listen, he's going to try to build a strong, rough, tough team, and it starts this season, but they definitely need more help, especially on the defensive side of the ball. San Fran, I feel like, is going to be too much for them. And I'm going to go with the Niners.
There you go. I can't say much more than what you had already said. I mean, again, Detroit, we already know what phase of the game they're in. They're just looking to try and get some more wins and propel into a newer, brighter day in the future. They made the changes in the ownership and having the daughter run a lot of the program and things. So they wanted to clean house a little bit. They've got Jared Goff now there, and they want to build from there. So let's see what happens throughout the season for the Detroit Lions. But San Francisco, again, clearly the better team in this one. All right, the Cleveland Browns now and Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be probably one of the games of the afternoon here, 4:25. This is probably the game of the week for some of the for the programs out there because everybody wants to see it. You've got the stars, you've got Baker Mayfield, the gunslinger, and you've got Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, you've got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and all that, and that's just the offense of the Browns. But then you look on the defense too as well, where they're really solid. And then you've got the Kansas City Chiefs, not defending champions, but went to the Super Bowl, kind of had a rough time because of injuries on the offensive line that were out and stuff. So you saw Patrick Mahomes kind of get a little bit of the ghosts falling around. Yeah, and who knows? So let's see, will he be able to carry through the next season with that? I know they put a lot of investment into fixing that offensive line, but there's some youth there too as well.
Definitely.
So let's see what happens when these guys get out there against this hungry Cleveland defense, who they're kind of stinging a little bit. They made their mark, and they were happy that they were able to take out the Pittsburgh Steelers last year when they were rejoicing. But in that last game against Kansas City Chiefs last year, they felt like they still could have did more and won that game.
Oh, they could. Absolutely they could.
So now they're coming back with Odell Beckham Jr., which they didn't have in that playoff game. And Kansas City Chiefs, again, where I think they're vulnerable a little bit on defense, I think this is going to be a great game, but Cleveland's got a good shot here. But seeing as though they're at home, I might still just lean on the Kansas City Chiefs here.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is, like, Jim mentions Kansas City upgraded their offensive line. It's actually pretty darn good. Like, it's the best offensive line Kansas City has had, and, like, last time I can remember since I've been watching football. So I know, like, back in the day, Will Shields was like a Pro Bowl lineman, but beyond him, there wasn't really that much. This is a complete offensive line. Very scary for an offense that's very, up-tempo, likes to throw the ball down the football field and attack with their speed. Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman is now a starter, so you got even more speed to contend with. I don't know what defenses are going to do. This is going to be absolutely insane. Not to mention they got their what's his name, Clyde Hilaire. They got him back healthy. So this offense could do some damage. Now defensively they did get better, but there's still a couple of weaknesses in that secondary that I feel like teams are going to exploit. Cleveland could do just that. I mean, they got all their weapons back, including Odell. Listen, dual threat running backs. I mean, Kareem Hunt. This is a revenge game for him. You know that he's going to be involved in this game. He's going to catch the ball in the backfield and look to run over some people. So Cleveland, they got a really good defense. I feel like they got an underrated defense still, even though they've had a little bit of success. In Kansas City, at Kansas City, this is going to be a tough game. I'm really not sure who to go with right here. I think I'm going to take Cleveland.
The Browns, yeah, I was going to say, do it. Why not? It's early on. This is the week we take mistakes because we're just not sure what we're going to get out of these guys.
I really don't know.
So, Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. Somebody asked me to pick this one earlier on in the week, even last week, I think, and it was tough. I went back and forth. Found out who was at home, who's not. I think the Miami Dolphins are really stepping up. Again, their question is how well will Tua play in this game? But again, New England's defense seems like they're back and they're going to be hungry. And they've found their quarterback. I think they've been looking for it. It makes it a little easier around them, and they're not trying to modify it so it's simple for a different type of running quarterback. So I think still you're going to see a couple growing pains from the two different quarterbacks on both sides of the ball.
Definitely.
But when I asked who's at home, he said New England. I'm going with New England at home.
Yeah, and if everybody remembers, Tua beat New England last year and had a pretty darn good record when he was the starter. I don't know why they did the whole merry-go-round quarterbacks with Ryan Fitzpatrick and him. I mean, if Tua's your guy, leave him in there. Let him get the experience. This year you got no choice. I mean, they got Jacoby Brissett behind him, but let the guy play no matter what. Win or lose, let him play. Let him get that experience. Miami's got a lot of weapons now. They drafted Jalen Waddle. They got returning Devontae Parker. They got returning Preston Williams. They got weapons. Mike Gesicki, a tight end, who actually came on really strong in the second half of that season last year. And Myles Gaskin, who was hurt last year, he's returning. And defensively, they're a really good defense. They got probably one of the best secondaries, if not the best secondary in the league. And they got a young front seven. So I got a lot of faith in Miami. I'm going to go Miami in this one, going into New England and stealing away from the rookie.
All right, here we go. Now we've got the Denver Broncos and the New York Football Giants. New York's at home. This one, again, for me, this is a gauge game where you got to look at these two teams. They're really similar.
Even.
And, Teddy Bridgewater, it's been a decent starter, when he's had his opportunities to be in there. But, again, since his injury early on in his career,
he's a game manager.
When it threw the question marks out there. And exactly, it's like how well can he protect the ball? And that's where he had some issues last season with the Carolina Panthers, where he did have a little too many turnovers for them. And that's all they were trying to find is that next quarterback that can be that franchise guy that can eliminate some of those mistakes and be that game manager type of dude. Giants, the offensive line, they've kept trying to handle this and handle it, and just it hasn't been any difference here. They've been a rotation of names, but it seems like it's all the same result. Everybody's asking Danny Dimes to step up, and is he the guy? Yes, he's made some questionable mistakes at crucial points, and that's what's turned the whole game upside down. But again, when you have these mistakes and you're pressured as much as you are too as well and taking hits, there's going to be a problem. And exactly, the difference between an elite type of quarterback that can make things happen despite all that stuff, like via Russell Wilson. He gets 40 sacks a year. He gets hurried as much, 20 some odd times too as well. But still, what he's able to do with his feet a little bit and then able to release the football as fast as he can where it needs to go, can get it done. And Daniel Jones, again, just not there yet. So he's more of a little bit of a project here again, but they just need him to be a serviceable guy, because when you can be out there, and he is out there and has the time, he has been able to damage some teams. He's got quick on his legs too as well, so they can utilize the running game too as well with him, maybe off of some sort of pistol action and things like that. But also he has one of the most deep, accurate balls in the league as well. So they need to be able to get those opportunities out there so he can do that. And now with Kenny Golladay, rip off the top of some of the secondaries that they'll be facing this season. So when it comes down to it, again, this could go either way. I don't think home field really matters here, but I'm a Giants fan. I ripped the Denver Broncos on this one, so I'm going to stick with the Giants either way. I'm just going to eat my dirt if I gotta.
I like it. Denver, listen, here's the funny thing is for the Denver Broncos last year, their defense was a little bit of a disappointment. Now, I know they didn't have Von Miller. I get it. And they lost Bradley Chubb down the stretch. But even with those two guys returning as pass rushers, like, the rest of their defense was eaten up by the pass game. What'd they do? Well, they drafted Patrick Surtain in the draft, which I think is going to work out great for them. Shutdown type of corner. But I don't know about everybody else. Like, are they going to be able to step up beyond that? They look good on paper. But offensively, I feel like the offense for the Denver Broncos may have to try to play catch-up sometimes. And the Giants, listen, if you remember the Giants' defense last year and how well they were, how good they were a very underrated defense last year. Blake Martinez, one of my favorite linebackers in the league, was a tackling nut job. Like, he just was all over the football field, breaking up passes, tackling running backs, stuffing everything that the opponents could do. And how good this defense is overall, like, it's kind of scary a little bit. Like, I know people are going to laugh at that, but I really do believe, after looking at the additions that they made, and they might be missing, I believe, Adoree Jackson for week 1. I don't know if he's going to be available to them this week. But even then, I think so much of this Giants team, and now with all the weapons that they have on offense, I really like them being home in week 1 and taking on a opponent from the West Coast coming over. Listen, they don't know each other that well. So I'm going to give all the advantage to the home team. I'm going to go with the Giants, actually.
All right. Wow, that's surprising there, too. All right, cool. All right, now we got the Green Bay Packers here, the last afternoon game here before the night game. And we've got the Packers and the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints, again, it's going to be their the same type of offense, again, that they want to do. They've got the quarterback that they need there. They've got Jameis Winston there, and they also still have Taysom Hill to do the gadget plays, whatever they need to do. Again, the key here, too, is for Jameis Winston not to make the turnovers, not to make the mistakes. Is he a changed man when it comes down to that? Has Sean Payton rubbed off enough for them? And has he taken them under his wing and been able to eliminate some of those mistakes? We shall see. Again, but it's tough when you have to face Aaron Rodgers on the other side, who's going to be really – they're going to try and be fast-paced, and they're going to test this team to try and go blows for blows with them. And this is what you don't want to kind of get into with Aaron Rodgers. And that can be intimidating for a quarterback, especially when you're trying to say, well, should I make that throw? Maybe I shouldn't go for that, and not sure. So I'm going to stick with just experience here, and I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and you talk about the game planning and what's going to happen here. I actually see Green Bay going a different route. Like last season, they weren't so pass-heavy. They were more balanced. I definitely think that they're going to utilize Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon in the run game a lot more this year and keep opponents off balance that way. Like, they're going to run the ball. They're still going to pass. Don't get me wrong. They do have Aaron Rodgers, for God's sakes. But I feel like they're going to keep everybody on their toes that way. And defensively, I don't know how good this Green Bay defense is. I still have big questions on them. Listen, they got talent across the board. It's just I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it on the football field last year. There was times when they played great, and then there was times where you're like, where the hell did the defense go? So hopefully they're going to be, dialed in and ready for this matchup. And as far as the Saints go, listen, they got one of the best offensive lines in the league. They are limited on weapons, however. That's why I think they're going to call upon Marquez Callaway, their rookie, to step up for them this season, especially with Michael Thomas is out. And there's a tight end that kind of is like underrated tight end that they've been using heavily in preseason. I can't remember his name off the top of my head there. But I watch out for him to be a little bit more involved in this offense going forward. And don't forget Taysom Hill, the gadget guy himself. He's going to be utilized all over the football field. So keep your tabs on him to see where he goes. And Kamara is definitely, obviously, going to be utilized in both the pass game and the run game. Defensively, I got some questions. The Saints lost a bunch of players last year. They're not going to be the same defense. So that being said, I feel like Green Bay is going to kind of get a lead and then maintain it. And then the Saints are going to be playing catch-up the rest of the way. So I'm going to go Green Bay.
All right, Sunday night's game, we've got the Chicago Bears and the Los Angeles Rams. Bears, again, we've seen that they are sticking tight with Andy Dalton. That's their guy, they're saying. But, again, the ticker will instantly be on the Bears here. When will they switch to Justin Fields? Just because, too, the question for this team not only is about quarterback, but it's been about general manager Ryan Pace. It's been about head coach Matt Nagy. So when their job is on the line, do they make the switch then to Justin Fields? They would have to in order to save their job. I think that this particular decision is more of a political decision here because, again, when Andy Dalton, they brought him in there and said, this is our guy and he's our guy, and they're kind of sticking with it. They don't want to go ahead and just all of a sudden make the change. Like, oh, no, we were changing our mind. We're going to go with Justin now, And I think it's just a political move. Ride with them, and then eventually the change will happen. Just don't know. I mean, it depends on
terrible way to
wins
coach.
or whatever. We saw it even last year when they were, I think, 5-0, and he still pulled the trigger and pulled out Mitch Trubisky and went into Nick Foles. It seemed like it got worse, and then they tried to put him back in again. So I mean, it's been a mess. These guys, coaches, and the GMs jobs are on the line. So we're going to look at that this season, and this is probably the potentially end of this regime for them, and they'll just reload. Now looking at the Rams, they go and make that trade here to get Matthew Stafford here now because they've moved on from Jared Goff. Obviously now they've said, like, this guy isn't getting it done for us. We need somebody that's a veteran that knows what he's doing, that's reliable, and in Matthew Stafford. And he has been a kind of a silent hero kind of in a sense. Again, along this league, everybody dogs him just because of the terrible team that he was on. But this guy has gotten the stats within his career, milestones, with people not even paying attention to it and just silently doing it and still taking the grief. And he's one of the most toughest quarterbacks to sit back there too and take the hits that he was taking too and still get these numbers. So now he's there with some of the weapons that they have there for the Los Angeles Rams. And but when it comes to this production here and this particular team, I think the Chicago Bears, I think is going to be a good team to prime up against. We're going to see what both these teams I think are kind of made up after this, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, here's the thing is, like, as far as Chicago goes, I think it's just Matt Nagy's job that's on the line. Ryan Pace has done a great job assembling a roster, and that's his job. As far as the decision-making, that's really when it's all on Matt Nagy as far as personnel on the football field and who starts, who doesn't, and taking guys in and out like that. That's not good coaching. I don't know what he forgot from Kansas City, from Andy Reid, but he just forgot everything, it seems like. But he's just mishandling his roster week to week and now season to season. When you have a rookie that comes in like a Justin Fields and shows you what he can do in the preseason, all good, by the way, and you still stick to your guns and say, nope, I believe Andy Dalton is going to be our starter, even though it's Fields staring right in front of you, and you can see the talent jump off the field at you. You got to start your rookie. You're the guy that gives you more of an explosive type of offense, a guy that gets the job done. Andy Dalton's not going to give you explosion. Hopefully he can just manage the game. So that's where I'm kind of like drawing the line there. I feel like if Fields was the starter, I'm going Chicago all the way. But I feel like with Andy Dalton there, he's going to limit this offense. Not to say, I'm not saying he's just an absolute terrible quarterback and doesn't deserve to be on a football field, but when you have better talent waiting in the wings, why not let him play? You drafted him high. You traded up in the first round just to draft him for a reason. If he's ready, willing, and able to go, send him. Let him show you what he can do in the season. So that's my take on that. Chicago's defense, all healthy once again. Looks very good. Looks like they can definitely handle themselves against the Rams. Rams got more weapons now. Listen, they got Van Jefferson still. It's his second year. They still have Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, but then they also added a speedster in Deshaun Jackson, who in camp Matt Stafford had tremendous chemistry with. So I fully expect Sunday night for that to be displayed. Darrell Henderson will not be available. They're starting running back in week 1. He is out this week, so it looks like they're going to go to more of like a running back by committee approach. And defensively, we all know Ramsey. We all know Donald for the Rams. But there are some weak spots on this team. So I know they're home, and I think with Stafford being the quarterback is the reason why I'm going to end up going with the Rams, because I like the quarterback play better. I like the offense better, and defensively, I think they can hold it down in L.A.
Mm-hmm. All right, now finally the Monday Night Football game. We've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders here, Joe. This is going to be a tough matchup.
Thanks a lot, Raiders. NFL. So thanks for that schedule. Thanks.
That's what it's funny. They're like, we're going to have Allegiant Stadium here and everything right there, and the Raiders on prime time here on Monday Night Football.
But we're going to screw them with a really good opponent, a playoff caliber opponent. Awesome.
Absolutely, the Baltimore Ravens here. So this is going to be tough. But you go into now the Death Star there. I mean, who knows? Maybe this could be the start of something for that team and in that dark, kind of atmosphere there, for them. So
first time
I'm
with
excited
fans
to see
too.
it. Yeah, so I'm excited to see this. I want to see this. I mean, I know the stadium is beautiful, but again, Vegas. Again, they just seem to just not be able to get there. Defense was the problem for them, but I think offense has been really nice. I love Josh Jacobs. I like the weapons that they have. Derek Carr's been, again, one of those types of silent guys. Everybody dogs him, but if you look at his stats last year, played amazing. He played really great, did everything that they wanted him to. Wasn't a turnover machine. Played really accurately and safe football. And the thing is about it with them, too, is also balance, but then the scoring in the red zone, they need to be able to do better at that. And
John.
And it was fourth down conversions, I think, and third down conversions where they were rough on. So if you can help that out.
Fourth, they were like almost leading the league.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Fourth down conversions, they were like leading the league whenever they went. Third down conversions, they were terrible.
That's what it was. So it's tough. They have a tough opponent. And again, the Baltimore Ravens, I think I'm just going to have to go with them just because. I mean, and nobody's going to judge me for that one. But I'm interested to see this game. But I'm going to stick with the Baltimore Ravens, just because, again, I think overall power that this team has and the things that they've done in the offseason to make this team even better. It's just tough for Vegas to take this team on.
I mean, here's the thing: is we said the same thing last year on Monday night opening night for the Raiders, and they played the Saints with Drew Brees. And the Raiders somehow, I was shocked. Somehow they were not only hanging in the game, but they led the whole game, and they ended up winning. So, listen, this is in Vegas. They are going to be so hyped. Not only are they actually have a legitimate home now, brand new stadium, lights going, fans are going to be filling the stands. The defense has definitely improved. There's a lot of changes that have been made. Gus Bradley is now the new D coordinator, so I'm really intrigued on it to see how well they can play with the new coordinator week 1. Baltimore, we already know that they got a pretty darn good offense and defense, but mostly they run the ball. Lamar Jackson's the key component for that offense. If the Raiders' defense can manage to slow him down in terms of his running game and keep him contained and make him throw the football, they're going to have a chance to win this game easily. And I already have a ton of faith in the Raiders' offense. They were top 10 last year. In terms of all-purpose yards and everything. So Derek Carr, pretty darn good quarterback. Darren Waller, good luck trying to defend him. So myself, I'm going to go at home. I'm going with my Vegas Raiders.
All right, nice. I like it. So we got a few different here. It's going to be exciting. It's week 1. Not sure what we're going to get. There's going to be surprises.
It's going to be a shit
People are going to be talking next
People
week
are
about
talking.
it. So it's going to be nuts. So I'm excited. I'm almost surprised that it's here. It seems like it's been forever.
Boom.
But again, we've got a lot of big things happening along with us, with the NFL, with Godzilla Media here. Now we've joined with them. A lot of big things have happened and big changes. We're trying to get out to a city near you too, and some of
live
the
events?
live events too as well, giveaways. So stay tuned for that.
Speaking of giveaways, real quick, Paisan's Pizza. We're going to be giving away a Paisan's Pizza gift card. Was it word or words that you posted?
2 words. It's one
Two
this week,
words.
and next week I'm posting one, and then
Okay.
you have to put both words in
So
the
we got
comment.
2 words. We got one this week. It's on our Facebook group. Head over there, become a know-it-all, become a member, and scroll down a little bit to find that word. What we should do is put it in the announcements. That way it'll stay up top. We'll do that. But, yeah, and the first person to give us the answer, was it 3 weeks from now?
2 weeks. Next
2
week.
weeks from now?
Next week.
Okay,
next week.
so
A
2
week
weeks.
from now.
So a week from now, get ready. First person to enter that, you get yourself a Paisan Pizza gift card and get yourself some good-ass pizza.
There you go. Absolutely. So thank you so much to
Thanks,
Paisan's
everybody.
Pizza, Mohawk Honda, Buck Environmental Solutions, Johnstone Supply, and now our new folks here at PPK, Paul Perry Kitchens in Scotia Glenville. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys.
Thank everybody for podcasts, too. Everyone,
Absolutely.
you can
Everybody,
follow
that's
us
true.
on
Apple
every
Podcasts.
platform where podcasts are given. Go ahead and follow us. Become a know-it-all. Join in on the fun.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more football on the know with Jim and Joe.